TSA shutdown. Are you flying? And if so, why? This might be the dumbest decision you've made all year so far in March. Look at some of these lines. First and foremost, before we go into it, this is um a line, and I think this is Bush Airport over in Houston. All right. So the guys started. Okay, I'm like, oh, that was a long line, but it's not crazy. Oh, wait, they're just going up the elevator, escalator. If you're just joining, this video started a couple seconds ago. Well, now they're on the second floor. Oh, wow, that's a long. I'm like, Jesus, when is that going to end? Okay, it ended there. Oh, no. Wow. They caught the video is titled Endless Line. And now I'm even confused as to where the line, like, what is the line? What in the world? Like, if you're at Bush International Airport and you just see the line, are you okay, the line ended there. That was a long line. Okay. Wait, no, there's more. Now you're going down to the third floor, going around. Yeah, I would have canceled my flight. I would have canceled my flight. Like, it goes out or around. The guy couldn't even walk anymore. These lines are going to the parking lot. They're literally like endless lines. I don't care where I'm going. I'm going home. Bon dia, Mr. Fireball 619. Love your support. Thank you for joining. I know you are whipping it up in the kitchen. We gotta get you on for a special edition of like a chef's conversation, a restaurant conversation. I want to know how your food skills are. You've been mastering that kitchen for a while now, so I want to know what type of cuisine you cook. And maybe when the TSA line reduces, we fly out to a competition or something. So why is this line so large? What's going on, guys? All right. So let me give you guys a rundown what's going on. There's a partial government shutdown. Most of you don't know about it or don't care because you don't work for the TSA. So the government shutdown is based on what's called an appropriations bill. No, my producer's getting little jitter fingers. What's going on? TSA government shutdown. There he goes. Thank you, Aaron. So TSA government shutdown is based on an appropriations bill. Remember last year where the government shut down and all these people weren't working, right? Well, what happened is there was what they decided earlier this year was, okay, we're going to fund the government, everything else except for the DHS, Department of Homeland Security. And why? The Democrats primarily said DHS, Department of Homeland Security, under Kristi Noem, has a couple main agencies under DHS. You have ICE, Immigration Custom Enforcement, you know, those guys. More, I don't have my little bandana or do-rag, but they're putting the mask on. That's a glove, but they're putting the mask on. So Democrats are like, we don't want ICE to continue doing what they're doing. We need standardized procedures. We need body-worn cameras. We need them to take off the masks. We need like certain things that are happening to not happen. And this was really predicated by the shooting of Renee Good and I forgot the other guy's name. I apologize. I remember Renee Good and somebody remind me, escaped me. But the gentleman got killed. He got shot. That one was really Alex Petty. Alex Petty. Yeah, so he got shot, and that really forced Democrats to make a stand on ICE. Now, what did they decide? Okay, we're going to fund everything in the government except for the Department of Homeland Security. And their Customs and Border Patrol, right? Like CBP, Customs and Border, whatever Patrol, is under that too. So the problem with all of this is that TSA, which is the Department of Transportation Security Administration, that's actually an agency, not a department, but that's the guys that check your bags and all this and that. They're under DHS as well. So they are not getting money. People who are working for TSA are not getting paid. That's why all these lines are so long, because they're coming to work, they're checking your stuff, they're going home, and they're not getting a paycheck. Some people are getting paychecks for $5, $10, $0, $15. going to work for the last month and a half. Now they're saying, you know what? Screw it. If you're not going to pay me to come to work, I'm going to start taking my sick days. I'm going to start taking my leave. Some people decide I'm going to just not show up to work, take leave, and go Uber or DoorDash or deliver or make some money. Or in some cases, if you have kids, it's more expensive to put them in daycare than it is to just stay home. So you might as well. So all these people are just staying home instead of going to work. That's why there's not enough people to check your bags, do the x-ray machine, scan you through, check your boarding pass, right? So there is a lax and a limit to all of that. So what did the bright government, I don't even know where we find these government officials. I really don't, guys. Like, some of the smartest people in the world are here watching this show. Y'all need to be in government. Y'all need to go over and start taking over stuff. All right. Like, better decisions will be made. Because what did they decide? Well, they decided, remember it, I mentioned ICE. The problem with this whole shutdown is that it really doesn't affect ICE. Why? Because ICE has already, like, the government gave them extra money, like a little nest egg, right? The nest egg is there for ICE to continue. So if you work with ICE, they're just tapping into all this extra money and they're fine. Top viewer stream, like, okay. Thank you, Mr. Hardy Crossword, something like that. I love it. Stream Boo Live. Yeah. So appreciate you watching on Twitch. Where are you from? That's an interesting username, but love it. Appreciate the support. But custom and barter, ICE and CBP are already funded. So what did the administration decide? Well, we're going to send some ICE officers to these airports to help out, right? And they're just going to be there. One interesting thing is, because they're working at the airport, they're working more like TSA. They're more of like on a civil agency, right? They're not like locking people up or trying to deport people. They're not putting the masks on. So now people are seeing some people's photographs. They're like, Shaniqua, that you? I didn't know you work for ICE. Wait, Brandon, I knew that was you. Now people are like kind of embarrassed. Are you not embarrassed? Are you not embarrassed working for ICE? I don't know. I mean, do what you got to do to make your money. Obviously, you know, some of them are getting paid very well, so it must be something. But what are they doing at these airports, right? So there's this video, this guy just showing ICE agents here at airports.
What is ICE actually doing at U.S. airports right now? It's not really clear. Here's what we know they can do. According to a senior ICE official, agents could be helping out with tasks like checking IDs and doing crowd control, but they are not trained for stuff like running x-ray machines. So the idea here being potentially you have ICE agents taking care of simpler tasks so that TSA officers who are short-staffed right now can focus on the more specialized work like running x-ray machines. But we have not seen ICE agents do anything other than walking around the terminal. In fact, at one point, I saw ICE personnel helping a woman into a wheelchair when she got out of a car to get to the airport. So we're not seeing them doing anything at the screening checkpoints themselves, best we can tell. And of course, we're not on the other side of security. We're not.
Okay. So they ain't doing much. They got there. They're like, all right, we're here. What can we do? What can we help with? Are there any immigrants that we can take? How funny is it? I'm sorry, not to even make light of this, but it's so dumb. Are they only working in the domestic terminal? Or are they also working in the immigration or the international terminal? Because if they're working on the international terminal, you know, they're just looking at these immigrants like, I want to take you so bad. And they're like, we're leaving, bro. Like, you don't have to arrest me. I'm leaving. All right, whatever. So awful. Because, and then what do they do? All right, we can't deport somebody who's already getting on the plane. And what is the irony here, guys? The irony is that there are some people going back home on their international flights, wherever, but the TSA lines are so long that they missed their flight. So now they got to stay in the country illegally. It's dumb. And the ICE agents are helping people in wheelchairs, which is not a bad thing. I love that. But that's just being a good Samaritan. You don't need ICE. You don't need a government. That's just any capable human being seeing a lady getting out of a car and be like, oh, do you need help? unless I'm late for my flight, then I'm like, sorry, I would love to help, but I can't miss my flight. I can't miss my flight. I'll send a nice agent to come help you. So they're not doing much of anything. And why? Because they're not trained. They haven't been trained for it. ICE doesn't have training so they'll check your ID, but they, that's you. Or now if you go, they just put it in the machine. That's you. Okay, next. But it's a mess, guys, and all of this because they don't want the Republicans don't want to agree to certain things. And now to throw another layer on top of that, there's this thing called the SAVE Act. It's a Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act that the president says, hey, we're not going to negotiate anything on ICE unless the Democrats approve the SAVE Act, which is making sure that voters, there's a lot in the SAVE Act, so I don't want to go into all the details, but voter ID, proof of citizenship, no mail-in ballots except for very specialized cases. It might not be a bad idea in principle. I think the voting system in this country, along with the tax system, needs to be completely reformed. It's kind of dumb. So, but is this the answer? Probably not. But is it the answer to even tie it into travel restrictions and all this? No, definitely not. They're separate issues. Let them be dealt with separately. But that's why you're seeing TSA long lines, is that TSA is the only agency in the Department of Homeland Security that people are not getting paid to come to work. So most of them, or I say a lot of them, decided to quit. You have thousands of people just quit, and some of them just decided not to come to work. So unless the government decides we're just going to allow people to go onto airports without being checked, which being in the middle of a war right now probably isn't a great idea, then we're still going to see these long lines. So I don't suspect that that's going to end anytime soon. But they did say they're weeks away from making a deal, or days away from making a deal. I will say this: if I'm a Democratic lawmaker and I do not like Chuck Schumer, if anybody wants to know what my politics is, am I Republican or am I Democrat? Am I independent? No, I'm not. I don't like any of them. Sorry. Name me a politician that's not Bernie Sanders. And I'll tell you one that I don't like. I don't like any of those guys. I don't think they're capable. Lifelong. I don't think you should be able to be a politician for more than, like one term, 2 terms, maybe. But these lifelong politicians, freaking Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, all of these weirdos. Yeah, but don't get me started. Don't get me started on these weirdos. All old men that don't have much left in life except for trying to make a name for themselves and get a library named after them. And they're screwing up everybody else's lives. So that's my take on it. That's so let me know if take the train, y'all. Drive, go on the road trip, whatever y'all got to do. If you don't got to go to the airport, I say save yourself the headache.